Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Good Morning Soul and another iZombie season review. This is the final season before we're caught up, everybody. Season 4. This one is a lot fresher on my mind, and it's going to be easier to talk about. I wanted to go more in depth with season 3, but I was like, what the fuck can I talk about that isn't spoilers? Like, the whole ending of that season is like, oh, well, the entire town of Seattle becomes zombies. I feel like that is a major talking point. One point I didn't talk about that right when I hit the button, I was like, fuck, I didn't talk about Blaine's dad living in a well, and then he gets pulled out in this season, and he's a fucking lunatic talking about, he's gonna be saved from God. And here's the great thing about it. He like slowly loses that like craziness, but he doesn't really lose it. Like he's still like this god worshipping lunatic, but he's like a more calm, collected version of that. Whereas towards the beginning, he looks like a guy that just crawled out of a well. He's losing his mind. He's like, let's eat all their brains. He's like, we are the chosen children. These humans were just placed here to give us brains. Like that's some crazy shit. But when you're a zombie going to church to feel better about like actual church, so like it's sometimes you just relieve yourself of your guilt. I'm sure these zombies are doing that, you know. Um, I feel that was some really great character stuff for a guy who's just kind of doing some on the side that led to some like really cool later in the season. That was a really cool development. His relationship with Blaine just gets even more dynamic, whereas before it was just kind of like, oh, I'm the father who wasn't there, and I'm kind of a bad guy, and you're Blaine. And now it's like, oh no, we have this weird bond where I didn't kill you, you let me live, but you're like my dad, and you're still my son, and we kind of work together, and it just fits so perfectly. Anyway, the whole rest of the season, we got Liv, who is being known as Renegade because she's helping zombies in crisis mode out. She's the experienced one, so she's like, hey, I'll get you over Seattle lines. Hey, I'll help turn this sick person into a zombie so they live over and over again. And then the zombie uh, registry gets all fucked up, and we don't know who's a zombie anymore, and the food is running out, and that's a big thing going on with Fillmore Graves, where they're running out of brains. There's only so much supply, and it's looking crazy over there. Meanwhile, Major is moving up in the ranks, and it's kind of feeling like he's like, okay, this is his role. Like this is who he is now. He's like this military guy. He is his own man. He's doing his own thing. Major is. I finally like. I'm not like, oh, Major, what are you doing now? Okay. We rather than it feels like we're giving you something to do. It's like, okay, we're gonna give you this one thing to do. That's who you are this season. I much appreciated that. Meanwhile, Ravi, who was scratched in the last season, basically the whole first episode of this, I was like, "Where's Ravi?" I was like, "He's got white in his hair. He got white in his hair," and then they played us. They played us. Basically, he's in zombie like remediation, where he's like giving himself blood, but like antidoting himself, vaccinating himself. Basically, he's like a major guinea pig who doesn't really give a shit either way at this point. Interesting concepts, but they kind of fucked with our emotions a little bit there. Meanwhile, we got Clive, who's basically given this story with Babineau, where I didn't even mention Babineau in any of my reviews. I'm glossing over so much. I hate it. Babineau, his lady friend, he wants to have kids, but she can't have kids now because she's a zombie. She got the vaccine like a dumbass. And big plot thread of this is like him trying to find someone else, but like at the same time he still loves her. I kind of, which, but backing up to that whole vaccination thing, I don't like that they're kind of using that visual, but it's probably, if there's one way for the government to turn us all into zombies, it probably would be vaccinations. I do trust the vaccinations that I've been given. I would hope that they know what's in there. Like, I hope the chain of command isn't so bad that nobody actually looks within these. Like, if there's a bunch of blood, like that they were trying to make it look like there was, obviously they're like distributing it, like the Fillmore Graves guys themselves. But like, I just don't like demonizing vaccinations. Although that would be a good way for our government to murder us. Anyway, although we would be able to tell and we would riot and murder them, but that's besides the point. A little bit different circumstance here because we're in a contained location of Seattle, which is, I love the like sense of isolation and sense of like, okay, we're in a fucking war zone. We're in quarantine right now. That sense never left the entire season because it didn't change. Like, the status quo didn't change. It was like, okay, but now we got 2 cities in here, and now there's only so many zombies. No, this is zombie crisis mode. That is the gimmick for this season. There's actually this big thing with Liv, where her newest new boyfriend, basically films her as Renegade and makes like a documentary about it and uses this documentary to get people on her side. It's a really interesting take. I like that Liv is getting this big major role where she's doing this, but it kind of just feels like, I want you to be doing police work still. I know it's like I feel like she shouldn't even be doing that though. It doesn't even make sense. Like, she does need money, but it's like this whole the economy of this whole city doesn't make sense. If you've ever been in a hurricane where the roads get cut off, it doesn't fucking last very long for that city. And at the end of the season, that's a spoiler. Yeah, I don't want to spoil that. But basically, in the next season, it's gonna get worse. The whole situation is just gonna. There was horses in the streets at the end of the season, and by season 5, assuming we're gonna get it, I feel like it's gonna be even worse. It's gonna get even worse. And goddamn, I'm just looking at the viewership drop. Season 3 was like, okay, we're hanging around. Okay, I guess it's the same. The lowest episode was episode Mac Livermore. Ravi finds out about Isabel. Major save gates that define paranoid being true. Blank is only 0.68 people watching it, or million. So, that is another big thing, where there's this character named, Isabel, who is kind of like the, martyr, the purest. She's a child who wants to become a zombie so she can live. She's like doing it in secrecy of her mom, and there's a potential cure with her blood. So even if she's able to cure everybody and save, zombie apocalypse, she dies. That's pretty fucked up. That's a big plot line. And so there's still a lot going on this season. I know it said it had less episodes, but it's like 13 episodes. They're like 45 minutes apiece. They have plenty of time to do a bunch of shit. Even if it does feel like they're cramming in like whose brain she ate this week into these episodes a little bit. And it's still great. It's all great. I think Fillmore Graves is probably like the biggest. I don't want to say the best bad guy, but it's like it feels the biggest. And I want to say that they impressed me and kept my attention going for another season, and I'm ready for season 5. Might be the last season though, and I would be okay with it. Anyway, 4 out of 5 for season 4. Thank you so much for watching as always, and until next time, with that, I leave you.